On the north side of Crash Zone Alpha, second game of the day, we're looking at Ohio and Schlieffen. I have seen Schlieffen used to good impact on this map in competitive play. We'll see how they do. Rounded out Goliath and Marseille. First time we're seeing that in competitive play, I believe. Napoli, they're bringing only the one radar. That's a Nevsky, fronted by Gearing, Daring, and one of my favorite destroyers to see in competitive, and that is Z52. Who has TKS brought to the bottom?
Double Daring plus a Gearing, and I love seeing Gearings in KotS, especially now that they're on press accounts, which means we get to see hopefully more legendary mod Gearings. But I also love to. They have the Nevsky, they have the Moskva, Napoli, which is probably right now the strongest tier 10 cruiser in the game, Salem, Kremlin, and a Montana. So we're seeing a little bit of variety here in the battleships. Tank and decent long-range guns on a Montana versus that Schlieffen and Ohio combination.
Quick look at early deployment. We're seeing the Z and the Daring headed to B. That's not really not really surprising. Nevsky Goliath headed south. The Ohio looks like he's going to play mid, and the Schlieffen going north with the Marseille and the Napoli. That's going to be really interesting to see how they pull, what the plan is for that.
Yeah. So as I look over here on the side of TKS for that, the Daring's taking the Napoli, the Nevsky, and the Montana up north. So we're seeing a little bit of similar strategy coming in there. But what I really do want to watch is this B play. We got the Daring of really that's sitting right outside B, but we got the two DDs, the Daring and the Z52 for the side of GGWP that are coming in.
And really is already within the Zed's hydro range, and he has no idea that the Zed is there. I really like that position. That is just super sneaky.
Mm-hmm. And it's a strong one. If it works out well and they get an early kill or major damage on the Daring, that's an advantage that they can turn into not only taking the cap, but also being able to shift power elsewhere quickly.
Yep.
But it can backfire.
There's the Hydro picking him up, forcing him right off the cap, as there's going to be some salvos coming in. Let's see what kind of damage they can get out of him. Doesn't look like they're going to get much. He's going to escape most of it there. But they're going to know exactly where he is for a while.
And the problem is, having to escape most of that means he's gone out right into the shot lines of the Goliath and the Nevsky, and dodges the first half, but this damage here, as he tries to get away from the Z52's Hydro range, is more than he wanted to take in any way, shape, or form.
Yep. Still hasn't burned a heal yet, but that's okay. He'll get the chance in a minute. He is dark finally. He's escaped the Hydro as GGWP is going to pick up B there. I love that Zed position. That is so skanky. I love it.
Now, what I'm looking at, look up at the top at A. Look at this, A line, but C cap.
Yeah,
look at this Napoli line.
I was just taking a peek at that, and I can only assume that they're trying to use the Napoli smoke to kind of push up here and make a hook and then come down the 9 or the 10 line in a minute. I can only assume.
You're going to have the Marseille line up in the smoke with the Napoli, and they're going to push together because the Marseille gets the Hydro, so they're not worried about getting torped in that.
Whoa, poor Jeebus's Goliath just got hammered. I'm just looking over here. It's like, whoa, how do you lose all that HP?
He's a Goliath. He's going to heal that all back up.
Yeah, but still, that Citadel damage adds up after a while. That hurts. Like,
here
comes
it
more
does.
Moskva AP.
Just gets
all
the
that
turn
at
off.
least.
Yeah. And now we're starting to see those Shima Torps, or Gearing Torps, pardon me, come in on the Moskva. Not going to be as effective as those Conga Line Daring Torps we saw last game on DWCM's position, but he takes one at any point that still packs a punch.
Indeed.
So I think this game's going to be decided, honestly, on the strength of what happens at C, with that push that's coming down here.
Well, I agree with you. They've committed a lot to this, and we're at both the Darings now are spotting each other. Look at this, stumbling across each other unexpectedly here. Velius and Marok in the C cap. Velius kind of losing a bunch more HP than he wanted to there, I'm sure. But like, they've committed a ton of ships to this A push, this A line C flank push, and like, there's just not much up here from TKS.
There's really not. And so, because they pulled the Nevsky back, the Nevsky had looked like it was going to be going there. But when the Z52 did that sneaky little move onto B, it looks like if he had any plans to go up there, they immediately had to pull him back to play and defend in mid.
Well, the Zed is lit now on the surface, surprisingly.
Yeah. We're seeing that gearing being able to spot the Zed. Zed going to take some shots. Here come the Kremlin shells. But quietly, while this has been going on, TKS has managed to get not one, but 2 caps. So they're starting to expand their lead for the moment.
Indeed. About 10, 12 points are growing there. 5 minutes gone. Still plenty of time in this game. There's not a giant rush here for GGWP, but they're going to, they've spent so much time with this, getting these ships into position up here north of C. I'm really interested to see what they intend to do here, because I've seen sometimes this push works and sometimes this push falls apart in a hurry.
Now the gearing is setting up and he's smoking up the Moskva, so the Moskva can sit there and try to just farm out at A. But I agree with you, like I want to watch this chess match down at A, but it's really on this push we're starting to see execute up here at C and how it gets defended.
Yeah, chess match is exactly the right word too, because if you're oh, the Nevsky's going to take one of these torpedoes. Explodey Pixel Boat. Love the name, by the way. Taking one of midships there in the Nevsky. The GGWP guys at A are at a huge disadvantage, right? Because they don't have a battleship, and they're up against a Kremlin. So they're this is sort of like a holding action. Like if they can just flip this cap and be an irritating nuisance, then that's probably a win for them.
Now we're starting to see that damage farmed. Yeah, C is picked up, and we can see the damage coming in on that Schlieffen. And one of the things to remember with the Schlieffen is the fact that it gets the limited DCPs, so you will see it. It's already used one. It's on fire right now, but it's got to be very selective with when it DCPs. Otherwise, it can quickly find itself on a double, triple fire, just burning to the ground.
Yep, she's a very powerful ship, but she is a little on the soft side, so she's got to manage that, right?
Oh yeah. Here comes the Marseille. Shots out towards the Nevsky. Those shots look juicy if they have the right line. Just a little bit short. And now, the Marseille is very tanky, but Napoli's sap.
Yeah, and, I'm a little surprised to see them doing this. GWP they're bringing their Ohio. I just saw the name of the Ohio. That gives me a chuckle. They loop this guy around north as well, and so again, just like we saw last game, this map starts as like an east-west fight, but as the teams shift and jockey for position, this is going to become a north-south engagement.
Yep, and it becomes then who can control B? How does this work? But the danger of this setup is that with this push down, I feel like this is a much more favorable position for GGWP because you've got the setup at the FG123 and then the push coming down from C, which is giving them some nice crossfire, whereas it feels like there's no crossfire potential right now for TKS.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. They're busting their butts to get this Nevsky out of here. Yoshi's gearing sailing into torpedoes to see if he can find a way through without taking one. The answer is no. He's going to take two and go out. And that was unfortunate.
That is unfortunate, and you got to watch out for Pixel Boat as well. Explodey Pixel Boat down to 10k and on the retreat, and that's going to totally change the game.
Yeah. That completely rewrites the book at A, because now, especially if they can't manage to keep Pixel Boat in the game, because they desperately need him to stay alive.
They're going to
pick up B, I think. They're going to pick up B on the back of their daring here. How's this push looking? They've still got a lot of HP up here. They've managed the HP on this push very nicely.
But watch the Marseille. Marseille hasn't used the DCP yet on a double fire, but down to 25,000. And if he gets a third fire, I mean, he doesn't want to use it because he knows as soon as he uses it, they're going to set him up and just burn him to the ground, especially with 40 seconds until the heal. But the Napoli's kind of just already doing that to him.
You have to wonder, if you're Doom Trooper, are you firing AP or HE at the Marseille? Because I think you can make a case for either. There's a third fire. He finally does pop the DCP.
He pops the DCP, but it's already over, and here comes do the shots land a fire on him? Oh,
they do. He takes another bow fire there. His heal is 16 seconds away. Two double fire, he's going out.
Oh yeah, he is absolutely toast at this point. Jetwater's going to go down.
Right about the time I say, well, they've managed their health decently, the Marseille gets Gets his face melted off.
The classic caster curse coming into play.
That figures. And so now TKS out to a 2-ship lead and a cap lead here. I'm sorry, GGWP having the cap lead, TKS having the ship lead.
Yeah. Now, do watch that Napoli. That Napoli is, if you can't get dark, yeah, the Schlieffen secondaries are just doing what makes the Schlieffen a lot of people's favorite battleship to play. Just absolutely eating him up. And
Ohio shells going in on the Napoli. They might bag him here. Oh, not quite, but the secondaries will finish him off. What do you bet?
Yep.
There we go.
Little late for me to say yep, but yeah, it's Schlieffen secondaries.
Yep. Big hit on the Nevsky as well, so GGWP starting to pick up kills.
Now, let's take a look quickly into the middle. So, Velius has taken a fair amount of damage here for GGWP, but he's sitting in smoke. But the Ohio of 2024 is continuing to just push down the middle and open up. And the daring of Velius is executing a beautiful set of blind fire there onto Really. Like, I love KotS for seeing blind fire because so few people do it, it feels like.
The risk for Velius is that once this Moskva, once DWCM's Moskva, right? He's down here at A, kind of lollygagging a bit. He's not really useful in that position, but once he rounds this corner and gets his bow pointed up to B a bit, well, he can't because of the Moskva and the Nevsky, the Goliath and Nevsky, I guess. But still, look how fast the Schlieffen is gone down. Look at this.
Oh, he is just getting brutalized. That's what we said. You get the fires on you that you can't DCP. And you just burn out very quickly.
Yep.
TKS holding a decent spot in terms of their health pool, but they still do need to make their way into B. And right now, the Ohio is trying to play the bait to prevent that. But the smoke for the Gearing and Daring is just doing its job.
TKS has a significant health advantage right now, not to mention the fact they still have both their battleships on the board, a claim that GGWP can no longer make. Now, these torpedoes from Velius look pretty solid, but the Daring Hydro is up, so I'm not expecting anything to come of them there.
He's
gonna back into one! What happened there? Oh my goodness gracious, a big kill there for GGWP. Montana Salvo coming in on the Ohio broadside. Ouch.
Yeah. I would love to know if that's a prop mod Daring, but watch out for Velius. Velius turning in. Okay, he does slam the brakes in time to not take the torp.
Yeah. His Hydro's up, and he saw those, and he's okay.
Yeah. So that ship lead back down to only 1. The points lead for the side of TKS sitting at just about 50, but closing by the second.
Man, still kind of a close game with 7 minutes to play here. The problem is, I think pretty sure they're gonna lose this Ohio. Oh, massive hits there from the Montana.
And a last salvo out from him. This should do it.
This is probably gonna finish him off. There he goes.
Yep.
With both their battleships gone, I just don't see how GGWP is going to have the staying power to pull this off.
I got to agree with you there, absolutely. You look at the Daring doesn't have the health to be even able to trade out one of those, much less 2 of them, unless he gets a very lucky fight that he can take. Nevsky down to 12,000 sitting on 1 heal. Goliath at half health sitting on 1 heal. Z52 still has smokes, but he's got a Salem and I Die Quick that's starting to push around, is going to slowly just grind the trap closed on all of them.
Ooh. All right, so let's see. If you're GGWP, how do you try to win this game? The only way you're going to win is if you can't lose another ship, and you got to retain control of B. Velius coming under a tremendous amount of focus fire. He got caught there briefly. Now down to 600 HP with no more heals. They're trying to blind fire in there and fish him out. They can't quite manage it.
Yep, so he'll get away, but losing that health once again, I mean, he gets spotted even once.
Oh, he's lit again. He's lit again.
Oh, yeah.
They catch sight of him. A couple of shells will do it, and there it is. I don't think they can do it now.
Health lead.
Z52. Z52 can make a play, but oof.
I don't think even if the Z52 makes a play, it's enough, because I don't think that he has the alpha he needs to kill the Kremlin and the Gearing, and with them about to crest 900 points for TKS, you're just looking for anything you can get. The strategy was really interesting with the Marseille, but I feel like it took too long to get going, and you unfortunately had some losses down south.
So whenever I see teams try that big hook push on this map, we always say that. It feels like no matter who I'm talking to, I always end up saying some variant of, "Man, it took a long time to get that push going." And then because it's so telegraphed, right? The opposing team can see it coming for literally minutes. It's almost criminally easy for them to just reallocate forces, pull some ships back, and be ready to receive the push when it comes. And there goes the Nevsky. They finally pick up the Nevsky. That's game.
That's game. Z52 going to be spotted here in a second if he's not careful. Kremlin going to continue to push in no shame, and he's got a broadside of a Goliath right here he's about to open up on.
There's no need for the Goliath to play games, right? Like, if he goes out, he goes out. The game's over. They win in less than 60 seconds, whether the Goliath lives or not, and they're not going to be able to kill this guy in 60 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This game is over, ladies and gentlemen. So that'll give TKS a win. Does hurt for GGWP, but bear in mind, with 6 teams going through out of each group, still a very good chance that both these teams will make it on to next weekend.
That's true. Remember, like we said at the top of the stream, guys, the main goal for these teams today is to try to win as many games as possible. 4 wins will probably get you enough to move on to day 2. There's no guarantee, and so there can be some shenanigans in groups where it might take 3 wins might be enough, but 4 ought to do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, unless it's the most balanced of all groups.
Right, and we've seen some strange things happen, but it is not normal.
Yep, and ladies and gentlemen, as we said, the winner will be TKS, and they will go to 1-0 in their group. That's not right. Mine says GGWP. No, that should be TKS. There we go.
Yep, TKS with the win. I got the screen fixed up this time. Haha! Ooh, I like their logo. Look at that.